Ethan Carter had always been a quiet man, the kind of person who lived in the background of life, content with small joys. But when he lost the love of his life, Amelia, everything changed. She had been his anchor, his reason to smile, and when she was gone, the world lost its color. People said time healed all wounds, but for Ethan, time only deepened the ache. In the days after Amelia's passing, Ethan found himself speaking to her. At first, it was nothing more than whispers in the dead of night, words escaping his lips before he could stop them. He would sit by the window, staring at the stars, imagining her voice replying to him. It brought him comfort, a fragile illusion he could hold on to. But then, something strange happened. The whispers became conversations. He would ask a question, and in his mind, Amelia would answer, not in his voice, not in the way memory recalled her, but as if she were truly there, speaking directly to him. Her words had warmth, knowledge beyond what he expected. It was as though she had never truly left. The town of Rosewood was small, and rumors traveled fast. When people noticed Ethan speaking to himself, they began to whisper behind his back. Some pitied him, some called him delusional, and others avoided him altogether. He became a man who couldn't let go, the one lost in a world of his own imagination. But Ethan didn't care. To him, Amelia was real. She laughed at his jokes, scolded him when he forgot to eat, and comforted him in his sorrow. He could hear her voice as clearly as he had when she was alive, and in those moments, he wasn't alone. One evening, as Ethan sat on a park bench, speaking softly to the air, a young woman named Lily approached him. She had always been kind-hearted, one of the few who didn't mock him. She had known Amelia well and missed her too. "Ethan," she said gently, "who are you talking to?" He looked up, not embarrassed but calm. "Amelia," he answered simply. Lily hesitated, choosing her words carefully. "I know you miss her, but don't you think this might be your mind's way of coping?" Ethan shook his head. "She's here, Lily. I know it sounds impossible, but she speaks to me." Lily smiled sadly, about to respond, when Ethan suddenly tilted his head as if listening to something. His expression changed, eyes widening slightly before turning to her. "Amelia says your father used to read you bedtime stories about the ocean when you were little," Ethan said softly. Lily froze. Her father had passed away years ago. She had never told anyone about those bedtime stories, not even Amelia. Her heart pounded. "Itch, how do you know that?" Ethan looked up at her with quiet certainty. "Amelia told me." Word spread quickly. At first, people dismissed it as coincidence. But then, it happened again, and again, and again. Ethan would casually mention details about people's lives, secrets no one else could have known. He spoke of childhood memories, lost family heirlooms, and final words spoken by loved ones long gone. People who had doubted him began to listen. The town's skepticism wavered, turning into fascination and then belief. A grieving mother, Mrs. Henderson, came to him one afternoon. Her son had passed away unexpectedly, leaving her with a heavy heart and unanswered questions. "If Amelia is really with you," she asked hesitantly, "can she hear my son?" Ethan nodded. "She says he's happy now, that he doesn't want you to cry so much. He remembers the way you used to make pancakes on Sunday mornings and how you always kissed his forehead before bed." Mrs. Henderson burst into tears. Those were details no one could have known, not even Amelia. She clutched Ethan's hands, sobbing with relief. "Thank you," she whispered. "Thank you." More and more people came to him, seeking comfort, longing to hear from those they had lost. And each time, Amelia spoke through Ethan, offering words of peace, love, and sometimes even guidance. The town that had once called him mad now revered him. They no longer saw him as a lonely man talking to himself, but as someone who had been gifted with something extraordinary. Strangers traveled from distant places to meet him, hoping to reconnect with those they had lost. Yet, through it all, Ethan remained unchanged. He didn't seek fame or recognition. He still sat on the same park bench, still spoke softly into the wind, still lived each day as though Amelia were right beside him, because to him, she was. One evening, As the sky turned shades of orange and pink, Ethan sat alone, staring at the horizon. "Why me?" he whispered. "Why did you stay?" Amelia's voice was as gentle as ever. "Because love doesn't end, Ethan. It never has to." Tears filled his eyes, but for the first time in years, they weren't from sorrow. They were for gratitude. Ethan Carter had lost his love, but in the end, he had never truly lost her at all.